Welcome to Touring the AFC South. I am your host, Mike Patton. And of course, we have a special day that is coming up on Sunday. Yes, that is Mother's Day. But that's not all why I brought my guest on this week. I bring her on because she gets the people going. If you're on Twitter, you definitely know when she puts something out there, she's going to get your attention. Is none other than Miss Ashley Baker. How you doing?
Mike, it is so good to see you. We finally made it happen.
Right,
I'm
right,
good. How are
right.
you?
I am doing good.
Good, good.
Wanted to ask you as well, since of course I do have you here and it is Mother's Day. Um, do you how do you kind of balance all the things that you do between motherhood and the Twitter spaces and the Cowboys and how do you balance all
Oh man. Well, first of all, by the grace of God, right? Um, I can honestly say, Mike, I have a very, very strong village. I was blessed enough to have a strong village from the jump of me deciding to pursue my sports career. And I started this when my kids were 7 years younger what they are now. You know what I mean? So my daughter was about 7, my son was about 3, 3 or 4 when all of this started for me. And my village has just always been around my mom, my sisters, my aunts, my cousins. Whenever I needed to go cover games, whenever I needed to go do interviews, needed to travel out of state, they were just always there, available to help. And my kids are older now, so they definitely kind of grew up in it. They understand when I got to travel, what mommy is doing. They know what mommy is doing right now as I'm on this show. So I am not all the way there yet. I am still a work in progress as far as making sure that I carve out time for them because they're my number one priority. I have to make sure that, like you said, I'm doing shows and doing my Twitter spaces and watching games and reporting on that and tweeting and everything like that. So I'm still learning the balance because everything is still relatively new. But a big part of that is my village, is my tribe, and just the awareness of, you know, I have to make sure that my kids come first. This stuff is great, but my kids come first. And my kids don't like sports, man. It's crazy. My
that?
kids don't like sports. I'm like, why don't y'all like sports? And my son is like, because you're stressed out every Dallas Cowboys game. It's a hard pass for me. And I'm like, oh, okay, good, son. Save yourself the heartache. Okay. So, um, but yeah, like I'm trying to currently implement like a really healthy balance of mom life, work life, and even self-care life, because that's important too.
Right, right. I saw that TikTok, by the way, the self-care, by the way. But
Yeah, yeah.
but for those that aren't
Ladies,
aware, can you
self-care, make sure y'all self-care is important.
definitely, definitely. For those that aren't aware, can you kind of tell them all the different things that you do?
Oh gosh, where do I start? Right. Okay. So I currently am a social media producer for BetQL. They are under the umbrella of Odyssey, and you guys know Odyssey and Odyssey Sports. They're everywhere. So I am a social media producer with them. I also still report and write for Fox Sports, for the Wizards, and for the Commanders. And that's actually why I was out in Vegas. I did some Commanders coverage for Fox. And also, I am a Twitter space host. So, any kind of sports Twitter spaces, the recaps of these NBA playoff games. I'm a huge fan of like top 5 list for sports, whether it be top 5 shooting guards all time or top 5 quarterbacks going into the next season. I'm big on that. I do have a podcast called About Nothing But Sports. I have to get that back up and running. You really inspire me, Mike, because you keep these podcasts going, man. And I'm like, I need to be able to do that. But that again, that falls under me balancing everything. And trying to make sure that I have a good work balance life and work itself. So yeah, I do a lot of that type of stuff in the sports world. I'm a huge tweeter. I would like to think that I develop great social media content. So yeah, that's what I do in a nutshell. And then of course, I'm a mom of 2.
Of course. Well, with me, I always have my nickname for you, which is I call you the high take queen.
You
So
do. You definitely
yeah,
gave me that nickname.
yeah, the
You
high
gave me that
take
nickname.
queen. I don't think it's ever gonna go away, but hey, unless you don't like it, of course, obviously.
I'm fine with it.
Now I do have to ask,
Yes.
Twitter Spaces, of course, that is a pretty new phenomenon going on.
Mhm.
I got to ask, how did you kind of get involved in it? Get so, how did you get so many people to want to come tune in to your top five list, recaps, everything? I mean, I really want to know that.
So Twitter Spaces started for me back in January, and it was the week before and like the week leading up to the Dallas and 49ers game. So I saw a lot of 49er spaces. I saw a lot of Cowboy spaces that I was like, let me just jump into and hear what people are talking about. And actually, one of the individuals that follow me, he loves like my sports takes and how I talk sports. And he was like, why don't you come up here as a speaker? Like, we need a female voice in the room. I need you to like be a speaker. So I'm like, okay, cool. You know what? I'll go in here and talk some trash to the 49ers fans. Why not? And that's kind of how it started. From that, my following really, really grew on Twitter. And along with Mark and a couple of other folks that I have rotating as far as like my co-host. We come up with these spaces, man. We come up with these topics. I always feel like, at some point I should be some type of like producer because, I get conversation going. I love conversation. And so it's easy for me to like come up with these lists. If I'm like in deep thought, it's super easy. So that on top of like promotion, and it's really important to like understand your following and understand your audience. My timeline is filled. Like NFL really is king. People love talking NFL. So I'm aware of that. So with my spaces, to create engagement, to create conversation, a lot of my spaces are NFL based, and the numbers just skyrocket when you're talking NFL. When you're letting people give their list, when you're letting people debate that list. Like, I have a personal list of who my top quarterbacks are of all time, but I'm going to let my folks in this space tell me why that shouldn't be my top five of all time, why this person should be here. People love that. People love that. And I've always wanted to have a situation where it's like barbershop talk. I've always wanted that. I'm the home girl that can kick it with you and talk sports with you. And Twitter Spaces really is just such a nice tool to have for that. So that's my Twitter space story. And it kind of grew after that. Like, Joy Taylor jumps in, and whenever, she sees a hot topic and she's like, I like it in here. It's a little hostile, but I like it in here. And I'm like, all right, sis, they come in here and we call it packing you up. Like, we're not going to just let you slide on little things. So she's like, I'm absolutely fine with it. You've been in the spaces, Mike. You know what time it can get up in there.
Yeah. I've definitely been in a few, and boy, oh boy.
Yeah.
How some people keep their cool and lose their cool is quite interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is, man. But I think as the months have gone on, I've developed like a steady like community. And so they've gotten much better. They really have gotten much better. I'm not sure if the much better will continue in the football season, maybe because it's the off season. But yeah, it's a great tool. That Twitter definitely hit the money with that one.
You see that, Twitter, if you're listening to this one, I think you need to cut the check on that commercial to Ashley Baker right now.
Tell him, Mike, cut the check. Let's cut the check already, okay?
All right. Now, of course, this wouldn't be a show with you without talking about your team, the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I have to know, how did you become a Dallas Cowboys fan? I think I kind of know already, but go ahead and tell the folks how you became a Cowboys fan.
So I have a huge sports family. Huge. Again, as I mentioned, football is king. So my family is heavily invested in the NFL. So I was born into it, to be honest. My mom was born like 20 minutes outside of Dallas. So I grew up, I grew up here in DC, but I grew up with my mom being a Cowboys. And you think I'm bad. The apple don't fall far from the tree. Okay. My mother is a whole nother level of I'm gonna start like during the football season. I can't wait to share text messages from her with y'all because she is on a whole nother level. The woman is like 65, okay, on a whole nother level still. But she was able to see Dallas and those Super Bowls back in the 90s, vividly. So I grew up hearing her hooping and hollering and being excited about it. And I didn't really comprehend it at that point in time, but my mom definitely is a huge factor because the rest of my family are Commanders fans. So my mom really introduced me into the Dallas, and ever since I just listen. It's in my blood. Technically, it's in my blood. She was born in Dallas. I came from her. Technically, it's in my blood. So that is how I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, and I blame her every day for making my life hell in regards to that. Yeah, I give her grief as much as possible.
Now I want to say, she did kind of help you escape from being a Commander fan because they've kind of gone through a few different things. We're just gonna
True.
leave it at that.
True.
But you were out there covering, or talking about the Commanders while you were out there
Yes.
at the draft. But I know you kept your eye on what the Dallas Cowboys were doing. So what do you think about their draft this year? I mean, I know they drafted a offensive lineman early.
Yes.
Watching his tape, he has the ability,
Yes.
but he just hasn't put it all together yet. He's doing more wrestling than he is blocking.
Yeah, so I think you're talking about Mr. Tyler Smith.
Yes.
Our first round pick. So in real time in Vegas, okay, so I wanted Kenyon Green. If not Kenyon Green, I wanted Linderbaum. And that didn't happen. And so Tyler Smith is someone that wasn't even really on my radar. So in real time, I was very upset. I had to contain myself. I'm like, wait a minute, as you are here as media, pull it, bring it down. You are not. So that irritated me the first day. As the draft went on, Dallas actually drafted pretty well. And next time or next year, I know not to get my panties in such a bunch. Even if they don't draft well the first round. Or listen, Tyler Smith is a great draft pick. That wasn't the issue. I just felt like that there were other, like the center that we all wanted, Linderbaum. He literally went right after Tyler. He literally went, whoever was right after our pick, that's who they chose. So he was on the board. And I'm like, Tyler Smith would have been there in the second round, possibly even the third round. We should have used the first round for Linderbaum, right? And we didn't, so that's fine. But Tyler Smith, like you said, he has the potential. He is something like Tyron Smith's replacement, which is something, our position I felt like we should have drafted 2 or 3 years ago because Tyron can't stay healthy. But I think that they're going to try to, I mean, he reminds you of a Tyron. He's big, he's nasty, he's physical. He does have to do a better job at finishing plays. He gets really lazy at the end of his blocks. That was the first thing I noticed when I watched film on him because I hadn't watched any film on him. And so he has the potential. Dallas is good at coaching up offensive linemen. They're going to probably put him in that guard spot. So we'll see. I love the wide receiver pick, Tolbert. He's fast. He's nasty. With it, he's about proving himself. I think he'll be a, nice accessory to CD Lamb and Michael Gallup when he comes back. So, overall, Dallas gets like a B- for me. B- for me. Overall they end up doing good. They always draft well. They never make splashes in free agency, but they do draft well. So. Yeah, I gotta see how everything gels together come mini camp and come preseason.
Got you. Now, I will be remiss if I didn't go to the Tour in the AFC South inbox, which is being hit up with a lot of people right now.
Oh.
Of course, Jonathan Brown coming through. Sup, Mike. Sup, Ash.
Hey, guys.
What's going on, JB? Then you got we got Jansen Harris, I'm sorry, coming through saying great show. Thank you. Of course, JB wouldn't be JB if he didn't say boo,
JB's
Cowboys.
JB's such a hater. JB's a hater, but I will say, JB, y'all had a great draft. Get JB, Those Eagles had a great draft. Those
Oh,
Eagles
we're
had
gonna
a
talk
great
about that a
draft.
little bit too.
Yes.
Now, I will say that of course, in the touring the AFC South inbox, we did have a message from Donnell Thomas that that Beckett is an issue for Tyron. So
Yes.
maybe that was the reason why they drafted Tyler Smith,
Yes.
and maybe they're thinking, oh, it's a little worse than what anyone else knows, perhaps.
Death, taxes, Tyron Smith not being healthy an entire season. Those are the things that you can essentially count on. And it's unfortunate. It really is. That has been the theme of his career, and he is a dog, man. Like there is a clear difference in that offensive line when Tyron is on it. He a dog, man, but he we need his replacement. We need his replacement. So that's certainly why, the back issues. He deals with like elbow issues from time to time, neck problems. Like Tyron deals with a lot year in and year out. So we definitely needed a replacement for him for sure.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, you definitely got to start looking down the line and be like,
Yeah.
okay, it's time.
Yeah.
Um,
It's been time, Mike. But you
right.
know
Yeah,
Dallas.
I was being.
They take forever to do stuff.
Yeah, yeah, we know. Now, I will say this. Okay, okay. Speaking of taking forever, the football season looks like it's taking forever to get back to us. But of course, when it does get back to us, you all will be seeing that the score as far as the NFC East will be seeing the AFC South, which is the Tennessee Titans, Indianapolis Colts, Houston Texans, and Jacksonville Jaguars. What are your thoughts on taking on that division?
We probably go 2-2. Probably go 2-2. We probably, we'll probably we may get the Jaguars. We will likely beat the Texans. Uh it's 50-50 with the Titans, but I think that you guys will probably end up taking that game. Well, not you guys, because I know you're not a Titans fan, but the Titans will end up taking that game. And the Colts, man, the Colts are going to be a lot better than what people think. I think the Colts win that division. The Colts are, if you're better, the Colts are 25-1 to win the Super Bowl. That's an early bet you might want to get in on, based
Huh.
on my betting experts over at BetQL. 25-1 to win the Super Bowl. Easy money, possibly. So we'll end up being 2-2. We're gonna be 2-2. I'm not gonna act like we gonna have much for the Colts or for the Titans, man. I can't say all of that. I can't say all of that. Still too much in the air. Still too much in the air, Mike.
Definitely, definitely too much in the air. But speaking of things in the air, of course, AJ Brown is hoping that footballs will be in the air from Jalen Hurts to him in Philadelphia.
Mm,
Now, no one
mm,
saw that one really coming on the
no.
outside, but from a few people I've talked to, yeah, they saw it coming. Just to give you the exact words I got in the
Yeah.
text message when I asked the question, it was inevitable. So,
Wow.
that trade that happened essentially was, I guess, inevitable to those that had actually been in there and
Right.
watching and kind of up close to it,
Okay.
which of course I am at times, but not necessarily all the time. So, what do you think about AJ Brown? 4 years, $100 million, 57 million guaranteed to be the man in Philadelphia to help Jalen Hurts get the Eagles back to the playoffs and potentially win the division. What do you think of that?
First of all, he got a bag. Uh, Second of all, I don't like it. I think it was very. If I want to pull out my fan, it was very desperate. You got to do what you got to do to beat Dallas. No, I'm joking. Look, that was a good move for Philly, man. Look, that's a good move for Philly. Listen, going into the season last year, I didn't have a prediction as to what Philly would do. I didn't know who they were going to be. They didn't really have an identity going into last season. As the season went on and towards the end of the season, which is how they ended up being a wild card, they ended up figuring that out. They ended up coming with an identity, which is a run the ball. So, excuse me. Now that they have that identity, that's going to carry on into next season. I'm aware of that. And now you've given Jalen Hurts You've given Jalen Hurts a nice target, man. You've given him. So, to be honest, I kind of like it a little bit because I kind of feel like it put a little bit of pressure on Philly because Jalen Hurts really don't have no excuse. You have a receiver. You guys establish a run game. You yourself are a cheat code when it comes to running. You got Devonta Smith, AJ. Come on, man. Like the wide receiving, like they should win the division without question. They probably should end up as a top 4 seed in the conference. But that puts a lot of pressure on Philly, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm interested in seeing how it go. I'm not happy about it. I don't like it. But I mean, like we talked about earlier, they drafted and made very, very good moves. So they going all in, man. They got them a squad over there. So I'm a little nervous in the division.
Then they got Jordan Davis in the middle too, the big guy from
right
from Georgia. Now
yeah.
he can. I'll tell you this: in watching him at Georgia, he's only going to give you 2 downs to start his career. First and second is all he's going to give you. If you push tempo on him, he's going to have to stand on the sideline because he's not going to be able to make it.
Let me dial Jury and them right quick so you can tell them that so they can make sure. Since you know.
But yeah, that'll be an issue that he has to work on with his stamina and things like that. But we'll see what happens as far as the Colts. And of course in the toward the AFC South inbox, we got a message said the Colts are official, no pushover at all. One if not the best O-line in the league, defense solid, they cooking. Well, I will say they are cooking in terms of defensively, they're pretty solid. Still leave a little bit to be desired at the cornerback position. Also offensively, they have Michael Pittman Jr. and they have Jonathan Taylor at running back. Can you tell me who else they have that even threatens you offensively? I'll say this: the rookie Jelani Woods could do so, and Mo Alley Cox, he could do so as well. But they're not established guys that be like, okay, cool, we got a game plan for him. That's the only reason I'm like, the Colts can't win the division, or the Colts can win the division. I'm like, I stopped short saying it that way. So it's kind of like a toss-up to me in terms of the division. But of course,
I'm interested in seeing how that all plays out. I feel that's going to be one of the most interesting divisions to me, specifically because I know I said that I expect us to get the dub over them, but I'm interested in seeing how the Jaguars are going to bounce back with Byron, right?
No. They got Doug Peterson.
That I don't know. I just associate.
Byron said he didn't want to work with Byron said he didn't want to work with Trent Baalke. They ain't like that.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing how they're going to do. Obviously, after everything that happened last season, we won't have to speak on that. But they might come out and ball out, man. You know what I'm saying? Trevor Lawrence, and that might shock us. I don't know. So it's going to be an interesting division to keep an eye on for sure.
Well, I'll say this: if they do well, they'll have to do one thing well the entire season. That's stop the run. They didn't do that well last season. They didn't do that well the season before. So we'll see what happens. But we are up to our game portion of the show.
I'm scared.
Are you ready?
No.
You say you're scared.
No, I ain't ready, but I don't have no damn choice but to be ready. Am I ready? No, I'm not ready. I don't like surprises. I feel like it's a surprise. I'm scared.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, I'm
just
ready.
A little bit.
I'm ready. All right.
All right. First up, I'm going to go to basketball. John Morant or Paul George?
Oh, I know you lying to me, Mike. Mike said he was going to do this to me, y'all. Like right now, like today at 7. Yeah. I really brother. Right now, today, this could change. This might be
one player.
No, this could change in 20 minutes. I'm just saying. Here, right now, I am loving John Morant.
I'm telling Paul George hive on you. I'm telling.
No. I'm loving John Morant right now, man. Like I have been so high on John Morant anyway the last couple of seasons. So it's Ja right now. It's Ja for me. I love his energy, man. He a dog. I love him.
Now I've got a Dallas one for you. Pass rusher special. Micah Parsons or DeMarcus Ware?
Oh, Micah.
Wow. I love Micah. By that one.
Let me tell you something. Micah made me very, very happy last season. I mean, you put him anywhere and he is he is wreaking havoc. Like, I remember one game, and I don't remember who we were playing, but maybe Washington. I remember one game, man was all the way in the secondary. He almost came up with the interception. I wish I remember which game it was, but he was the play before, he was literally coming off the edge. The very next play, he was that deep in the secondary where he almost picked the ball off. I'm like, you can really just plug and play this guy anywhere. That's when I fell in love. I'm like, I love me some Micah. So for me, it's Micah. Definitely Micah.
All right. Dak Prescott or Lamar Jackson?
I'm getting set up, man. I'm getting set up. This is out of control, man.
Oh boy, I'm getting better at each week too.
This is crazy. I'm going Dak. Like, I'm not about to go my squad, man. I'm going Dak.
I was gonna say you gotta go your squad.
Going Dak, man. I shouldn't even thought that long. I'm going Dak Prescott.
All right, let's see. We got Eagles or Commanders.
For what?
Which one would you take? If you
In
had
what?
to? If you had to cheer for one,
I'd rather drink
would you
bleach.
take?
I ain't taking neither. I'd rather drink bleach. I'm good. I'm good with either one of them. No, seriously. So growing up, I live here in DC. So growing up, the hatred that I had for Washington was crazy. But as I've gotten older and just, have become, a professional at this, the Eagles are wild. They brought caskets to a tailgate one time against us. Like, I know that the Commanders have been our rivals for all these decades, but I think that has shifted tremendously over the last couple of seasons, and it really has been the Eagles. So if I had to pick one, I'm going to wash my mouth out with soap after this. If I had to pick one, I'm picking Washington because I can't stand Philly. That's right. I said it, Michael. I said it, JB. I can't stand y'all.
I'm pretty sure they're taking notes, and I'm pretty sure any Washington fans that are listening are like, yes, we got her for the day. But I got another one for you. Let's see. Okay. We're staying NFC East with this one too. Okay. Carson Wentz or Daniel Jones?
Oh my goodness. Carson. Carson's more proven. I'm going Carson.
And then last one, we're gonna go back to Dallas with this one. Alvin Harper or Dez Bryant?
So listen, it's Dez. To answer the question, it's Dez Bryant. So it's crazy because up until Dez, I didn't have people buy like jerseys with back of the names on the back and all of that, and all kind of stuff with players' names on it. I am such a fan of just the brand, the star itself. I did not have a favorite Dallas Cowboys player. Oh, who's your favorite Dallas Cowboys player? I would be like, I don't have one. I'm Emmett, Troy, Michael, none of them. You know what I'm saying? Until Dez. I was asked that question about 2 years ago, and I realized, I was like, damn, I think that Dez is probably my favorite Cowboy of all time. So it's Mr. Bryant for me.
Got you. Yeah. All right. Well, we have come to the end of the show. I want to wish you a happy early Mother's Day.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you. You're welcome. Same to wifey. Please let her know I said happy Mother's Day. Will do.
Yes. Want to wish anyone's listening happy Mother's Day to you. Happy Mother's Day to your moms, your aunts, your cousins, anybody
that's a mother figure, man. Yeah, anybody that's a mother figure. Happy Mother's Day to you guys. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Thanks for having me on, Mike.
Yeah, of course. If you want to let them know where they can find you, what are you working on, anything you want to tell people.
Yeah, so you guys can follow me on. Okay, so I'm learning how to TikTok, Mike.
Just same.
I'm literally asking my 13-year-old daughter, how do I do this? How do I do that on TikTok? So on Facebook, on Instagram, Twitter, and now TikTok, you can follow me at Ashley Baker _21. On Facebook, it's just Ashley Baker. So I'm working on building up my TikTok. People want to see me more, I guess. Of course, you can always catch me on Twitter. You can catch me in a Twitter space. I do post those and promote those a couple of hours or a couple of days before, depending. I'm saying a couple of hours now because the playoffs are here. So I usually do like a recap after the last game of the night. So it can get kind of late. West Coast, if you up with me, feel free to drop in. But yeah, the Twitter Spaces, I got some incredible content coming next football season. These playoffs are amazing. I can't wait to finish that up. But yeah, that's where you guys can find me. And my podcast is wherever you listen to your podcast at About Nothing But Sports. I promise y'all new content is coming. So just subscribe now. So when the content comes, you'll be the first to know.
I'm making notes over here. You said you're coming back. I'm making a note. No, I'm
hold
just
me
kidding.
accountable, man. Hold me accountable, Mike. Seriously, hold me accountable because you're one of my top guys that always support and listen to my show. So definitely, iron sharpens iron. So definitely hold me accountable for sure.
Definitely. And in the inbox, we've got Darnell Thomas that said he's following. So
thank you, Donnell. Appreciate it. Yes, buckle up because you're going on a ride. Tell him, Mike. Tell him, Mike.
Oh boy. I don't call her the hot take queen for nothing. You better be ready. All right. Thank you, everyone, listening and watching. You've been tuned in to Touring the AFC South with your host, Mike Patton. We're out.